I knew I'd really be rich and ball that up somehow. There's no way. I mean, we're all outliers. I think it's really the it's hard to explain how our brain works. I have no idea. I wouldn't use me as an example. How about that? That's my point.
All right. So does anybody have a question they want to sort of start things off, and then obviously Jeff can play off that.
How did you start? Like, how did you get involved with getting into the multi-touch or whatever screen business?
No. Yeah, it's a pretty common and good question to start off with. So yeah, my background actually is in computer graphics. Actually, since I think the first time I actually really started programming was when I was 11 or 12, but the main reason I wanted to program back when I was little on an Apple II was because I saw movies like Tron and Star Wars, and they all had these great wireframe kind of graphics that looked very cool in 3D, and I just wanted to be able to create that again. So a lot of my motivation for getting into computers in general was the idea that I can create a drawing, to create this perfect 3D cube or a perfect wireframe drawing of some space shuttle or something like that. So it was a really kind of it was a motivation to satisfy a visual kind of appetite I had to create a perfect drawing. I don't know if you guys ever drawing class or 2D drawing or perspective drawing and things like that, where you try to or drafting class. I don't know if that's in your curricula there, but it was a very the ability to kind of sketch and draw something that was realistic looking was something that I think I wanted to do early on. So that's the reason why I got into computer graphics, because it was just a really easy way, instead of using a pencil, could we actually get the computer to draw for us? So that actually was the entire reason I got into computers, and is the reason why I went to engineering school. I majored in electrical engineering and computer science, but I went to Cornell, which was really for the computer graphics department there. Cornell happened to have a really strong computer graphics department, and my entire career has always been about manipulating imagery and pixels on the screen. That was just a very raw, kind of emotional, sensory kind of desire that I just wanted to fulfill. I'm a very visually oriented person, so it was just exactly what made me happy, what I wanted to do. The problem is, computer graphics has gone really amazing leaps and bounds over the last 20 years. I mean, you guys are all used to amazing video games. I love playing video games in the 70s and 80s, and the kind of stuff that we can do on a computer now is actually pretty amazing. It was pretty hard 20 years ago to try to achieve photorealism, the idea that you can make a picture that the computer can draw that was indistinguishable from something that you might have taken a photograph of. So that is actually quite achievable now, and quite honestly, I realized that graphics was getting a little boring. I don't want to insult it too much because I still love graphics, but the main reason I started, I guess, veering off into other interests was because I realized that graphics was pretty solved. We actually figured out a lot of what to do with graphics, and now I was kind of turning my attention towards other things that addressed our interface to the computer. If you think about what graphics is, it's output. It's how much the computer can display to you what it's thinking or what it's doing. And I started realizing that capability is so good now that the other direction, the input side, was being bottlenecked. So we didn't kind of have a symmetry between how good the graphics was, the output part, from the input part. So I started veering my attention towards input technologies. I've always loved pens and styluses. I love drawing. Cameras are another really interesting way for the computer to understand what you're doing. And so it's a natural progression to actually say, well, computer graphics is fun, but let's try to figure out other forms of interface, the input side, and if you look at the work we're doing, multi-touch interfaces, a lot of it is still strongly coupled to graphics. So I'm not just doing an input, I'm also doing input that controls graphics on screen. So it was a nice natural progression to go from computer graphics and video games and stuff like that into, okay, let's focus on the input side of the problem, not the awesome computer graphics that's beneath it all. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. When you're multi-touch interfacing with public with the election and all that, and people kind of started singing like, "Whoa, that's so cool! I want one." How did you feel about that? I mean, was it exciting? Were you like, I wish it was more developed, or how did you feel?
I guess what you guys are asking is, well, first of all, it's really wonderful to know that the work you've done actually a lot of people just off the street have seen, or it has made impact that way. I remember a really weird story where we made one of our big systems, and we were having the FedEx guy pick it up, and the FedEx person was just kind of curious, so what do you guys do here? And we're like, explain to them, yeah, we make these big multi-touch screens, and you might have seen it on TV. They're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen this. Or the cab driver knows exactly what you're working on, which is really, really cool. That kind of impact is something I think that drives a lot of people to make sure that, it's not about money, it's not about necessarily whether you've invented something, but it's the idea that you have other people really using it and understanding that you've made an impact on society that way. And the other part of your question, I think, is also the fact that everyone does ask and follows up with that. When can I have one for myself? And it is a little frustrating to tell them, well, like a lot of technologies, we're in an early adopter phase, it's not going to get to everybody's home right away, but make no mistake, we're really intending on, and we all have a vision. I mean, I definitely have a vision that this will be in everybody's home and classrooms and workrooms, and it'll just be everywhere. Every table, every surface, every just random kind of whiteboard or wall that you have there should be enabled like a computer. It should actually be able to call up information anytime you want. So that vision, of course, is not going to be in 5 years. It'll take a little bit more time than that, but it's all going in that direction. We're going to have wallpaper displays everywhere. We're not going to have just the idea of just a small display with you at all times. It's more like big, giant wallpapers of display anywhere in the hallway or anywhere in the room. So it's exciting to get there. Sometimes we have to understand that it takes time to get there, and but that's what vision is for, I guess. It's having a good vision of where we know this stuff is going to happen.